Fear is one of the most powerful emotions we have. It can protect us, warn us, or stop us from doing something dangerous. But sometimes it just appears when we least expect it. One fear that hits deeper than most is thalassophobia. The fear of deep, dark water. It's not just about sharks or drowning. It's about the unknown. That uneasy feeling you get when you look into the ocean and realize how massive, silent, and empty it really is. The deep sea is like a world of its own, when we don't fully understand and maybe aren't meant to. You see, deep oceans feel like a place doing its best to let humans know we're not welcome there. We're not meant to be there, and we don't belong there as a species. From the lack of oxygen to the crushing pressure to the broken remains of people who tried to explore and never made it back, it all makes the ocean feel like an eternal warning, a silent display of human failure, reminding us to stay away. That fear doesn't only show up in real life though. Video games have found a way to trigger thalassophobia too. Most people think of Subnautica right away, a survival game full of deep trenches, dangerous creatures, and jump scares. But what I find even more interesting is how a calm, peaceful game like ABZU that doesn't even have a combat system can still bring out that same fear. In ABZU, you play as a diver exploring a quiet, mysterious ocean. As you swim through the world, you find ancient ruins, statues, and paintings that tell the story of a lost civilization. The exact meaning of the story is never explained directly, and different players have their own theories. But one theory that made a lot of sense to me goes like this. There was once a civilization that lived in harmony with the ocean. They depended on its power and eventually built technology to store and use the energy more efficiently. Over time, they created a machine, the diver, the character you play, as a kind of guardian, something that could restore the ocean's balance if anything ever went wrong. That might explain why the diver only wakes up after the ocean has already been damaged. You can also tell the diver is linked to the ocean's energy. In the ruins, you'll see paintings that show figures like you, and when you free those strange underwater structures, you give them back a glowing bulb of power. It's like you're reactivating something ancient and you were built to protect. The name ABZU comes from an old Sumerian word. Ab means water and Zu means to know. So ABZU together means the ocean of wisdom. The game doesn't use words or dialogue, but it still tells you a powerful story, one about nature, balance, and the deep mystery of the sea. ABZU is a game that was clearly made to be calming. There are no enemies, no time limits, no real danger, just you, the water, and the music. Everything about it feels peaceful. The way you move, the gentle soundtrack, the bright colors. It's the kind of game that looks like it should help you relax. But for someone with thalassophobia, that calmness can actually become unsettling. Because once you start going deeper, the tone shifts, the colors get darker, the music becomes quieter, more distant, and suddenly you realize you're not just swimming, you're drifting, alone. The game doesn't warn you, it doesn't scare you on purpose, but that's exactly why it works. It doesn't point to the fear, it just lets you sit there, quietly, waiting. It slowly takes away all the things that made you feel safe in the beginning. The sunlight, the coral, the surface, and the deeper you go, the more it starts to feel like you're somewhere you shouldn't be, somewhere not made for you. ABZU doesn't use jump scares or monsters, it uses beauty, and that's what makes it so effective. It gives you the ocean in its purest form. So if ABZU isn't used in danger or horror to scare you, then what exactly is making it so unsettling? What makes ABZU quietly terrifying for people with thalassophobia isn't just the ocean setting, it's the way the game is designed. There are no monsters or jump scares, but the fear still creeps in because of how the game uses space, sound, and visuals. One of the biggest triggers is how deep the game lets you go. In some areas, there's no ocean floor inside, just dark, empty, drop off. When you swim over the edge of a cliff or into a wide, open trench, your stomach tightens, the water below you turns black, and you realize you have no idea what's down there. Another powerful element is the change in lighting. In the beginning, everything is bright and full of color, but the deeper you go, the darker and more muted it becomes. It starts to feel heavy, like the water itself is pressing down on you. Then there's the scale. Sometimes you'll swim past enormous creatures, like whales or giant rays. They're not dangerous, but they're so massive that you feel small, almost invisible. And the silence, or the way the music fades in and out, makes the ocean feel alive, but not in a comforting way. Even the way the camera moves contributes to it. It's smooth and floaty. But when you're in open water with no landmarks, it feels like you're drifting with no control. And the deeper you go, the more intense it becomes. So what are the parts of ABZU that push this fear even further? As you move forward, the ocean around you becomes quieter and more empty. You start diving into deep trenches where there's no floor in sight and no clear direction. The screen fills with dark blue or black water, and you feel like you're floating in the middle of nothing. It's easy to get lost, not just in where you're going, but in the feeling itself. Some areas take you into huge, ancient ruins. They look powerful, but they also feel cold and lifeless, like you've entered the leftovers of something gone long ago. There's something chilling about how empty these places are inside. No creatures, no music, just quiet. You solve puzzles and bring energy back to certain places, but even then, it stays silent. You expect a big change or a reward, but instead you just move into another quiet space. The game gives you beauty, but it also gives you loneliness. It's the feeling it leaves you with. One of the most powerful things ABZU does is remind you how small you are. As you go deeper, the ocean doesn't just feel big, it feels endless. You're just a tiny figure swimming through huge empty spaces, passing giant whales and ancient ruins that seem to stretch forever. That feeling of being small makes everything feel more intense. You're not just exploring, you're entering something much older, much bigger, and completely outside of your control. It's not your world, you're just passing through it, and that creates this quiet pressure in your mind. You start to question what you're doing down there. You feel like a visitor, or even an intruder. Some places almost feel sacred, like you shouldn't even be touching them. The game never tells you this directly, but the size of the world around you, the way it moves, the silence, it all sends the same message. You're small, and the ocean is not. That feeling doesn't come from fear of death, it comes from fear of being lost, forgotten, or simply out of place. And somehow, ABZU captures all of that without even saying a word. And that's what makes me wonder, why would this game feel even more terrifying than a survival horror game like Subnautica? When people talk about thalassophobia in games, Subnautica is almost always the first to come up, and this makes sense. The game is designed to make you afraid. It throws dangers at you, surprises you with monsters, and keeps you on edge. But ABZU takes a very different approach. It never attacks you or tries to scare you with sudden moments. It quietly lets you discover the fear on your own. There are no clear threats, only silence, emptiness, and vastness. What makes ABZU so powerful is how it makes you question your own feelings. You wonder if it really should be scary, or if you're just imagining things. And in that space of doubt, your fear wakes up by itself. The game doesn't create fear for you. It helps you find the fear that's already inside. That's why it can feel even more intense than a game that shouts for your attention. ABZU whispers, and your own mind feels in the shadows. It makes your fear rise from within you, because of you. ABZU showed me that fear doesn't always have to be loud or obvious. Sometimes it's quiet, slow, and comes from inside us. That kind of fear can be harder to deal with because it asks us to sit with our own thoughts and doubts. For me, playing ABZU was a reminder that fear isn't just something that happens to us, it's something we shape ourselves. If you have ever felt scared in a place that wasn't supposed to be scary, or had your mind play tricks on you, I'd love to hear about it. Thanks for watching, and I hope this video made you see this masterpiece of a game in a new way.